Hi everybody, this is Craig Tanner for The Mindful Eye and the Photo of the Week on the Daily Critique. This week's Photo of the Week was submitted for the Mindful Eye's Community Assignment number 14, which was Shallow Depth of Field. And we're going to not only look at the image that we chose as the Photo of the Week, which was submitted by Trey, who's an advanced photographer from Tennessee, but we're going to look at some other amazing images as well. It was a really tough call on this one. There could have been 3 or 4 photos of the week from the images that were submitted. Just want to say a big thank you to all the people that are participating in the community at large, and in particular in the community assignment section of the Mindful Eye. Our traffic is way up. We're getting a lot more participation across the board on the website, and we're just really grateful for that. And you guys really raised the bar on this assignment. There are just some amazing images. It was really hard to make a choice. One of the reasons that I chose this image is I really like the idea of something that's ordinary or everyday, or that we've seen sort of over and over again, and then showing it in a way that's extraordinary. And one of the things I love about Shallow Depth of Field is that we just don't perceive the world like this. We see with our eyes with such a great depth of field all the time. The shallow depth of field is at one time a great way to abstract a subject. It's also a great way to tell your story in a more powerful way or in a more direct way. We really see this in cinema and motion pictures, where just the focus and at a very shallow depth of field can be moved around to really tell the viewer where to look or to make a very important point. And we can do the same thing, obviously, in still photography. One of the things I love about this image is that Trey was kind enough to submit an image where he was focused on the device that you actually look through to check your eyes. It's just sort of amazing to see how being very, very close to this machine and changing the point that you're focused to, just how differently this scene looks. And of course this is a lot closer to what this would look like in reality before you actually moved all the way in there and you had no perception of the machine that you're moving your face very close to. Another thing that I love about this version of the image is just the idea of anthropomorphism. It's almost like the machine has become something as human, because you get a sense of eyes and nose. Almost get the sense of an owl too. At least that's something that I'm seeing. There's just so many things that you can sort of see that are archetypal, that are more alive than the machine, with the machine being out of focus. And the fact that there are the openings for the eyes. I also just love the simplicity of color here, the idea that the machine is very monochrome, and then you just have the simple lines of color. Red and black play very well together, and red and green play very well together, and red, black, and white is a very powerful color combination. So just the graphic quality, but also the power of these colors working together, and all the different things that the black and red color combination mean to us. Trey actually submitted the version of this where the numbers were right side up. He had flipped them, and then he submitted this version, which is not on the community, and I actually really like it with the numbers upside down. And I also just love the idea, because this is about checking your vision, of actually seeing the machine out of focus and the numbers sharp, and just playing around with the whole idea of nearsighted and farsighted. Just a really cool graphic image that just speaks to me on a lot of levels. But like I said, one of the main reasons I like this image so much is it's something that's ordinary that now has been turned into something that I've seen so many times in my life, but I've just never seen it like this. There are a lot of other amazing images. This definitely could be a photo of the week. So portrait from Ed, who's an intermediate photographer from Georgia. Ed is shooting a 50mm lens, 1.4, very fast prime at 1.4, and I just love what's happened in terms of the focus just being right here. So really beautiful use of shallow depth of field. Can be very, very difficult to use a lens that's this fast and shoot it wide open and really get your focus where you want it to be. Another reason I think this image works so well is that a 50mm lens this close at 1.4, a lot of times it's hard to get both eyes sharp, but the quality of light here is so beautiful. With the light falling off in this eye, we can't see the whole eye, so we don't know what's happening with sharpness over here, and it really draws the eye and the mind. And to hear the hand up is very provocative to me, and the quality of light here is just absolutely stunning. I just love the fact that you've got these little catch lights in the eyes, but the light is really falling off, and it just really sets a mood and has a big psychological impact on the viewer. Just cannot overemphasize to encourage you to think about working with extraordinary light. For me, almost anything that I'm shooting, that's the first thing. That's sort of at the top of the list. I'm always thinking about light relative to my subject matter. Just a really, really stunning portrait. Absolutely love this shot. This could have been the photo of the week from Lynn, who's an intermediate photographer from Ohio. The shallow depth of field here is beautiful in the way it's simplifying things and really drawing my eye into the cat, but this is an image where I just think so much about the power of color and color design. I just absolutely love the simplicity of color here, with the harmonies of all the monochromes and sort of the grays, with the bench and then the cat and then the tree back here, and this looks like a metal post, and then sort of these blue grays and the gray here. Just a hint of red is absolutely beautiful here because of all the green, and the green eyes of the cat just harmonizing with the green. I mean, to me, and then coming back to harmony of the monochrome, to me this is such a powerful image. If you want to think about color, but really powerful images, have a lot of other things going on for them as well. And just the archetype of laying down and on the bench, and the cat being on the bench instead of a person. Quality of line here is absolutely gorgeous. I just love what's happening. These little sprigs of plants coming in and rhyming off of the quality of line that's happening over and over again. And the cat, just an awesome image. Has a big effect on me. And I'm going to go pretty quickly now. Wish I didn't have to go so fast, because a lot of these other images are just great. This is from Bill, who's an intermediate photographer from Colorado. Really cool use of shallow depth of field shooting through what had to be a very, very busy subject matter, and now using the shallow depth of field to create a really beautiful circle or frame for the blossom of the flower. And I like this second flower. It would be a more graphic image of just one flower, and maybe the one flower being down here, but then maybe it starts to become cliche, and I like how this kind of breaks the rule of one main subject and makes the whole thing more whimsical, and I think that it goes with the whimsy of all this information back here. Just love this one. Another way to get to shallow depth of field is using diopters, and Garth, who's a beginning photographer from UK, stacked a couple of diopters on a lens that wasn't a macro lens. Also love the idea of focusing on the web and making it almost look like we're looking through glass or something to get to what you think might be the main subjects. Just really neat. Once you have the potential for very shallow depth of field, how just changing the focus can really have a big effect on how we're telling the story. The depth of field here isn't quite so shallow, but I just love this portrait from Scott, who's an advanced photographer from Washington, because this guy, who's obviously a toddler, just seems so serious. It's like, even though he's playing in the sand, just the look on his face looks like more like he's an engineer surveying where he's going to put his pilings down to build a bridge. And really beautiful black and white conversion here, but I just love the sort of the cliche that's being messed with here. The kid playing in the sand with his totally serious look, just looking right at us. Love the movement in this one. Love the feeling of light, just how luminous this is and how it's moving towards me as the viewer. Just absolutely love the harmony of this little bit of the flower sort of coming back out of focus. Really beautiful shot here if we want to talk about shallow depth of field and the kind of abstractions that we can create. I want to finish with this one because so many different ways to get to shallow depth of field, and this one was done actually in the darkroom, in the analog darkroom. So there's a tilt shift lens on an enlarger, and the enlarger has been set up with the tilt so that just the eyes are sharp. and I absolutely love the portrait from a quality of light standpoint. Great expression, stunning quality of light, but just really cool to think about all of the different ways that we might get to shallow depth of field. This image reminds me of one of my favorite photographers of all time, Keith Carter, who I got to shallow depth of field, and maybe is still doing it this way by bending pieces of film in a medium format camera, so the film itself was bent when the picture was taken. Just an absolutely stunning group of images. Just want to say a huge thank you to all of you. I really was inspired by the submissions for this assignment, and hope that you'll continue to participate in our community assignments, or go ahead and participate for the first time, and hope to see you again real soon on the Mindful Eye. Hope everybody has a great weekend.